What you are about to see was one of the most unusual events ever to occur on an NBA court. With 2 seconds left on the clock, Shaquille O'Neal scored an astounding 19 points in that quarter. Here comes Shaq with a buzzer-beating 30-footer. While the shot was impressive, it stands out as an extraordinary event because throughout Shaq's 19-year career, he made only 11 three-pointers from 13 30 attempts. The shot you just witnessed was his sole three-pointer, back in 1996, when big men typically operated near the basket, with three-pointers almost forbidden for them. Out of the 41 7-footers active in the league that year, merely 12 made a single three-pointer, and only 7 made more than one. Arvydas Sabonis was an exception, hitting an impressive 39 threes throughout that season, more than all other 7-footers combined. However, the league has evolved significantly since 1996, with Sabonis' remarkable shooting getting overshadowed by 3 decades of basketball progress. Players like Dirk Nowitzki, Brook Lopez, and Karl Anthony Towns have redefined what it means to be a shooting big, transforming the ability to shoot long range into a requirement rather than merely a novelty. But it was Lauri Markkanen in 2023 who established a new standard for how effective a big man can be from long range, sinking 200 three-pointers in a single season, far exceeding any 7-footer in NBA history until now. By the end of this season, Victor Wembanyama is on track to surpass that, aiming for 243 pointers in a single season, a feat that utterly surpasses even the finest big man shooters ever. But Victor isn't merely a 7-footer, he's among the tallest players ever in league history. If we focus on those in this graph who are at least as tall as Wemby, it's clear that Victor Wembanyama stands out as a remarkable anomaly, a basketball singularity. He excels in this role while also being recognized as the top defensive player globally, yet that's still insufficient. Fans criticize the big man, claiming his game lacks toughness and that his skill set doesn't align with his size. He plays 25 feet away from the basket, almost defying his size and physical advantage. Why is he positioned so far out? His astonishing displays of skill, being overly sophisticated for someone of his stature, are impressive, but why not try to post someone up for once? Wemby is already a generational talent with the potential to be one of the all-time greats, but what's the value of that potential if unused? Is Wemby's game suffering in a league that has become obsessed with guard skills and three-point shooting, or is he poised to redefine basketball and transform how the game is played? What did I just witness in the NBA evolution? Not too long ago, if you had told NBA fans that a 7'4" giant would be doing bag work and sinking crossover threes from 25 feet away, no one would have believed you. Yet, here we are. Victor Wembanyama is undeniably talented, and everyone acknowledges it. Remarkably, even generational talents like Wemby aren't typically this exceptional this early in their careers. When stacked against the greatest players of our time, Wemby's trajectory through 100 career games has been unprecedented: more points than the all-time scoring leader, more blocks than the all-time leader in that category, and more threes than the all-time leader in three-pointers. It's as if the basketball gods orchestrated an extraordinary game by crafting an overwhelmingly skilled player who can excel in every aspect simultaneously. When we assess Wemby's impact against other players in their second season, the gap between him and everyone else is nearly unbelievable. Here's a look at some of the best players from the last 2 decades and their progression through their first 2 seasons based on estimated plus-minus. A -1 is considered around league average, which means even those who began slowly, like Giannis, Shaq, and Westbrook, were still on an upward trajectory early on. An EPM of 3.5 represents an all-NBA worth season, so stars like LeBron, AD, Luka, and Jokic were already excelling by their second season in the league. And then there's Wemby, who is not just a superstar. In just his second season, Victor Wembanyama is emerging as an MVP candidate, significantly outshining some of the best players from various generations of NBA basketball. He is already performing at a level that typically takes even elite players until their 4th or 5th season to achieve. At this point, Victor is not merely vying to be the top young player in the league, he is rapidly closing in on being among the best players globally, as indicated by numerous advanced metrics. This season, statistically, he ranks as a top 5 player in the NBA, with example metrics showing him as the third most impactful player in the league, trailing only Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo are among the best players of their generation, yet Wembanyama is making significant contributions at their level in just his second year. We anticipated his potential if he could maintain his health and stay on the court, knowing he could be a defensive powerhouse based on his physical attributes. However, nobody could have predicted this level of performance. Here is a visual representation of every NBA player who has attempted at least 200 shots this season, plotted according to their average shot distance on the x-axis. And their height is represented on the y-axis, and as expected, there's a clear link between player size and their proximity to the basket. Taller players like Gafford and Gore typically play near the rim, while smaller players, such as Steph Curry and Peyton Pritchard, are generally found further from it. However, there are exceptions. T.J. McConnell stands at just 6'1", yet his shot distance is similar to that of a power forward. On the other hand, 7-footers like Brook Lopez and Lauri Markkanen shoot from near the three-point line, which might surprise some. So where does Wemby fit in all this? He is situated about a mile away from where you would expect the tallest player in the NBA to shoot, with attempts resembling those of a shooting guard. So far this season, Wemby's average shot distance is greater than that of prolific perimeter players like Harden and Luka. Although Anthony Edwards has taken the most three-point shots this season, even he shoots closer to the basket than Wemby does. Karl Anthony Towns is often mentioned as one of the best long-range shooting big men, yet Wemby shoots significantly closer to Steph than he does to Kat. This is astonishing, but alongside this incredible aspect, there are serious concerns regarding the future of Wemby's career and the implications of this playing style. Victor belongs to a new generation of players who are inheriting a league that has been influenced by outside play and similar guard-like skill sets. We are witnessing this young player break records and reshape the game in unimaginable ways. Yet, for some fans, his style doesn't meet their expectations. Victor is not only the tallest player in the league, he ranks among the tallest individuals on the planet. While it's impressive to watch him sink step-back threes and showcase his combo guard skills, it seems almost unfair that he isn't capitalizing on his tremendous size near the basket. A 7'4" giant with an 8-foot wingspan has the ability to be invincible around the rim, but is presently shooting only 20% of his attempts from within 3 feet and 50% from beyond the arc. As one fan expressed, Wemby has chosen the KD path instead of the Hakeem path. The league should be thrilled, and while being compared to Kevin Durant isn't a terrible thing, in light of who we're discussing, it feels off for Wemby to be pigeonholed as merely a hyper-lengthy long-range scorer in an era that increasingly strays from inside play. If there was one player we hoped would resist this modern style of basketball, it was Wemby. However, this evaluation is entirely misguided. Wemby hasn't exclusively taken the KD route, nor has he taken the Hakeem path. He's effectively doing both simultaneously. Many already consider Victor to be the finest offensive player in the league, a distinction that usually takes even the top defensive stalwarts many years to claim. But that was the scouting assessment on Victor entering the league, an era-defining defensive talent. The additional aspects competing at scoring from 3 levels and the promise to enhance his offensive skills were present, albeit sporadically. The question was not if he would elevate to a truly elite offensive talent, but rather when. Among all the projections, I doubt anyone anticipated he would meet those expectations just a season and a half into his NBA journey. For context, here are some of the greatest scorers in NBA history measured by points per possession, alongside the top defensive players based on defensive box plus-minus. Achieving ultra-elite status on both ends of the floor is incredibly rare in basketball. That's why, on the scoring chart, defensive superstars rank here, while offensive superstars find themselves here defensively. It's as if there's an intangible game law that maintains this equilibrium. Ben Wallace and Draymond Green can contend defensively with nearly anyone, but good luck to them if they need to score. Conversely, Iverson and Steph can effortlessly rack up points, but don't expect them to stop opponents on the other end. However, there have been a few truly exceptional two-way players like Duncan, Hakeem, Kawhi, David Robinson, Giannis, and Michael Jordan. Oh, and of course, the incredible 21-year-old who is already on the path to becoming the best two-way weapon the game has ever known. This is a 21-year-old Wemby who is being compared to these superstars in their second season. And you're observing a player who seems like a character from a story, so please remind me what precisely the issue was with WY's performance earlier in the season. Victor faced critique for several of his games. Why would you be standing 25 feet from the hoop tossing up bricks when you possess the physical abilities to simply drop the ball and without even leaping? As the season has unfolded, so have Vimmy's performances, and it turns out that witnessing a walking giant do this is genuinely entertaining. However, the initial backlash he received from fans illustrates how far-fetched and unconventional his style is, along with the hesitance of NBA fans to embrace change until it proves successful. When Dirk Nowitzki first came into the league, and even during his ascent to stardom, he frequently faced criticism for being soft at a time when true dominant big men existed, yet he wasn't among them. Part of this stemmed from the stigma surrounding European players then, but a significant factor was his style of play. The idea of a 7-footer dribbling, facing up, and relying on 15-foot fadeaways was simply too strange for some fans to accept. Now, reflecting on it, Dirk Nowitzki was an extraordinary innovator, ahead of his era, and while some criticism was justified, much of it merely reflected fans' resistance to new and different approaches. Kevin Durant has publicly stated that he intentionally downplayed his height early in his career, because he realized that if his designated height began with a 7, he would be categorized as a post player no matter his abilities, a concept that sounds somewhat absurd today. Yet, considering the perspective of the game 2 decades ago, this choice was crucial, otherwise, we might not have had the opportunity to see this player at the start of his journey. Michael Jordan received the message that guard-heavy teams don't secure championships. The winning strategy was based on big men, and history supported this notion. At the same time, Magic and Isaiah Thomas were breaking barriers, clinching titles, and creating a pathway for Michael to completely challenge these past misconceptions. Certainly, nobody believed three-pointers could be vital for winning a championship until the Warriors transformed the narrative and revolutionized basketball with long-range shooting. Change is often resisted until it proves successful, and the catch is that you can't ascertain its success until someone arrives to eliminate all skepticism. Victor Wembanyama is currently doing just that. Recently, on the Bill Simmons podcast, Kirk Goldsberry discussed the unpredictable nature of basketball's evolution and suggested that the NBA's next phase could revolve around the talented big man. The 2010s emphasized small ball, and as we navigate the 2020 era, it could be termed skill ball, as even larger players like Jokic, Embiid, and Wembanyama showcase exceptional skills. Can you name a center from 2004 or 1994 who could match Jokic's capabilities? Perhaps Rasheed Wallace comes to mind, as there were a few exceptionally skilled individuals. That could shoot, pass, and dribble. It's basically Rasheed. Rasheed was the guy everyone looked at and exclaimed, "Oh my God, this guy can shoot from outside, he can post up." We held him to this incredible standard, and he averaged about 16 points a game. This generation does everything. Everyone can dribble, pass, shoot, and the skill level has never been higher. Wemby is clearly the next in line. Everything is falling into place. He had tremendous hype, similar to LeBron when he entered, but I believe Victor Wembanyama is set to become the next top player in the NBA within the next 5 years. Reflecting on how basketball has evolved, it's logical that towering players with varied skill sets would take the spotlight next, almost as a response to the previous small ball era. Victor understands this well, stating, "The best way for me to contribute is to not be put in a box." We know we'll create something original and special, with coaches and staff in the Spurs organization supporting Victor's movement away from conventional positional roles. They recognize that letting him play his game will unlock his full potential. It's illogical that Wemby can drill 30-footers, get into his bag, or request his guards to set screens for him. We prefer our bigs to play big. Usually, we want our bigs to play big. Wait, hold on. That was actually pretty awesome. Okay, well, height is merely a number, but you need to leverage it. We've heard it all before, statements that all made sense until the next wave of basketball was right there. Any effort to categorize Y's game or liken him to any player past or present will leave you unsatisfied. He and his abilities do not add up. They are irrational. He isn't just exceptionally good, he is exceptionally good. In an entirely new way, we are observing the future of basketball, and if you, we, weren't fond of the concept of a guard leading your team, if you didn't appreciate the notion of 7-footers stepping out for deep jump shots, and if you didn't embrace the three-point revolution, then you definitely won't appreciate what this guy will ultimately achieve.